MakeAScene.org brings you the return of the regional music economy. Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. You can kind of think of what we're about to explore today as a modern fable. It's the story of the indie artist's journey, and it's filled with distant dreams, a few hidden traps in the dark woods, and ultimately a path to a sustainable future that might just be hidden right in their own backyard. So, why is the future of independent music actually way closer to home than we think? Well, for decades now, pretty much every serious artist has been handed the exact same storybook quest, the myth of the road. You know the drill. Get out of town, get in the van, go national, chase the press, and hunt down those big festival slots. The dream, the big treasure, was always in some faraway kingdom. It was always in another city or sitting in another playlist editor's inbox where the numbers looked big enough to feel like real momentum. But as you'll see, the map to that treasure has completely changed. Look at how this whole illusion breaks down. Over on the left, we've got the grand, romanticized quest. Touring was always supposed to be the great equalizer, right? But the romance of touring has a funny way of hiding the ledger. On the right, we see the modern reality. Today, an artist can literally have thousands of followers on Instagram, massive passive streams on Spotify or TikTok, and still lose money driving 4 hours just to play for a room full of strangers. That isn't failure, my friends. That is just math. And let's look at that cold math waiting out there in the dark woods. As of late June 2026, the national average for regular gas was $3.86 a gallon, and diesel? Even higher. This is not a minor detail. For any band traveling in a van, the road has basically transformed into a moving cost center. Every single mile, every empty seat, every week local promotion campaign, it all has a hefty price tag. Oh, and it gets deeper. At 72.5 cents, which is the IRS business mileage rate set for 2026, a mile is literally never free. That number includes your tires, oil, depreciation, insurance. What that means is a 1,000-mile quest costs our hero a staggering $725 before the band even buys a single meal, books one hotel room, or replaces a busted alternator in a town where nobody knows their name. Which leads us to a really tough question. What did the artist actually bring home, net? A $600 guarantee looks like a huge victory on paper, but it vanishes fast when distance ignores the ledger. The U.S. Travel Association reported a 5.1% hike in hotel prices and 3.5% at restaurants. That means that simple sandwich after soundcheck and a basic hotel room quickly eat up the treasure. A show that looked like solid progress quickly becomes a loan taken out against the artist's own future. This brings us to an absolutely core lesson from MakeAScene.org. Distance is not romantic when the room is empty. As artists, we've got to stop confusing motion with growth. The road should be an investment, right? Not a leak. Taking these long drives for weak guarantees where you get zero fan data in return is just undercapitalized ambition. It really is a tale of two entirely different kingdoms out there. The top end of live music is just enormous. Live Nation reported $3.8 billion in revenue for the first quarter of 2026. Massive stadiums are thriving. But the working 150-cap van economy, it's literally fighting for survival. The industry just keeps confusing the visibility of national platforms with actual viability for indie artists. So what about social media? TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube? These discovery platforms are incredible for reaching people you could never reach before. But MakeAScene.org points out a really vital truth here. Platforms are doorways. They're not home. The problem starts when an artist builds their entire business around castles they don't actually own. Let's see how this shifts into the real magic, which is density. The national business loves scale and passive clouds of a million streams. But the regional music economy, it runs on a dense village. 1,000 casual listeners scattered all across the country won't fill a single room. But 200 committed local fans spread across just 5 nearby towns, they buy tickets, they buy shirts, they host house concerts, they pay the rent. And where do these dense villages actually gather? In independent venues. To put the scale into perspective, in 2024, independent venues, festivals, and promoters contributed $86.2 billion to the U.S. GDP. They supported over 900,000 jobs. Yet crazy enough, 64% of them weren't even profitable, getting totally squeezed by rising costs. These venues aren't charity cases or disposable nightlife boxes. They are the true economic engines of the village. They form the vibrant infrastructure of this new kingdom. We're talking about the 80 Cap listening room, the local blues societies, local sponsors who genuinely want to support culture in their backyard, coffee houses, and house concert hosts. These aren't just side quests. These are the artist's true long-term allies. This is where a fan actually moves from passive listening into active, fierce support. Section 1. The 15-mile strategy. Building the new music map. Okay, so here is how you actually walk that map. Instead of a simple one-night transaction, you treat every single show as a fan capture event. First, you play your hometown and gather 38 real contacts. 2 weeks later, you expand 90 minutes away and gather 24 more. Then, you return to your hometown with a bigger bill and a much stronger story. The goal isn't just to play gigs. Your job is to connect these markets into a repeatable, data-driven route. To pull this off, the artist needs a satchel full of tools. You're using Bands in Town for discovery, Eventbrite for ticketing, Bandcamp for direct sales, MailChimp for emails, and Patreon or Substack for deep fan support. But MakingAscene.org emphasizes a crucial rule for this toolkit. These tools absolutely must feed an artist-owned system. You cannot let the tools become the business itself. Because the hard truth is just this. The business is the fan relationship. Your own website, your email list, your direct regional relationships, that is the actual spine of the business. Everything else, it's just traffic. You have to use platforms to bring the fans home, to a world that you actually control. Section 2, the human middleware, music societies, and fan passports. You know, an algorithm can definitely recommend a song. Absolutely. But it cannot create civic pride. It can't walk a new fan into a room and say, hey, you have to hear this artist. Local music societies, your folk, jazz, and blues collectives, they know who actually buys tickets, who volunteers, who brings friends, because they understand that music isn't just content, it is belonging. We are seeing a massive shift right now. The old industry captured rights and platforms just scraped fans for raw data. It was all about silos. The venue posts, the artist posts, and everyone just kind of hopes for the best. The new regional music economy, though, is built on earned relationships, permission-based trust, and coordinated local campaigns that actually build community. To bridge this gap, MakingAscene.org introduces a really powerful concept, the Fan Passport OS. It gives artists a connected, owned command center. Imagine this. A fan scans a QR code at the merch table, collects a passport stamp, and gets a reward, like a live acoustic track. It's totally permission-based. It feels like joining a community, not being swallowed whole by some corporate sales funnel. MakingAscene.org hits on a vital point here. The first move is to turn the home market into a base of operations. Building a home base is not settling. It isn't a cage. It's building a powerful, low-risk launchpad that gives you cash flow, confidence, and leverage before you take on the huge, full cost of national expansion. Think of it this way. National attention is a spotlight. And spotlights, well, they move. A regional economy is a fire. A well-tended regional fire spreads, it provides lasting warmth, and it actually protects you from platform whiplash. When Instagram reach drops or TikTok changes its algorithm overnight, your fire keeps burning because you own the relationships. This is exactly how a powerful flywheel starts spinning. A fan comes to a show, has a great time, then returns. The venue sees the draw and rebooks you. A local sponsor sees the community impact and underwrites a series. A local society adds you to a festival. Suddenly, passive listeners turn into active scene builders who will happily drive 90 minutes and buy your vinyl. Which leaves every single artist with a final, pretty provocative question. Are you going to keep funding distant dreams with bad math and feeding a machine that keeps fans at arm's length? Or will you build where you stand? Connect the nodes, bring the fan home. The region is not your ceiling. It is absolutely your strongest foundation to enter the world. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on MakingAscene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.